What's going on, guys? Paco here. Welcome back to the channel. On your way in, please remember to like the video, subscribe, leave a comment down below. We're going to be watching a video here about Diablo 4 versus PoE 2. Which one you should play. I thought it would be interesting to kind of delve in and see what they have to say.
If you ever uninstalled Diablo 4 out of frustration or closed Path of Exile 2 due to convoluted systems, you weren't wrong. But you might be wrong now, because the ARPG you quit isn't the one waiting for you in 2026. I originally loaded up Diablo 4 to get a feel for the current state of the game so that I could make a video explaining why Diablo 4 players should try out Path of Exile 2. But after putting around 30 hours into D4, I realized this video needed to shift direction. Instead of asking why you should switch, the better question became, which ARPG should you play in 2026?
As always, it should be personal preference which one you should play. At some point, I do want to try PoE. The only reason I'm not going right to PoE 2 is because you have to pay to play that one. So I do want to go head over to the first one, give that a try. But it should always be your personal preference. I mean, I've been playing Diablo 2003, somewhere in that area. Diablo 2, I beat that on all difficulties, and they released the ball expansion. I can't remember what that one was, but they released the 5th act. I've been playing that. I bought Diablo 2 Resurrected, so I'm huge into Diablo.
This video comes right after the release of Path of Exile 2's Fate of the Vol League and Diablo 4's Season 11. A lot of us have been following both games since open betas and early access, and somewhere along the way, most people picked one and stuck with it. But if you decided to uninstall either game early on, I've got some news for you. That game you put down is almost unrecognizable now, and it might—
Yeah, Diablo 4 went through massive changes with the Vessel of Hatred expansion that came out. Even since the Vessel of Hatred has gone through some significant changes. Again, I've never played PoE or PoE 2, so I'm not exactly sure what changes they've gone through. But I know Lord of Hatred, that releases in, 16 days? 15 probably, maybe less when this video releases. I know it is looking to completely overhaul and basically be Diablo 2 or Diablo 4 2.0.
be actually worth your time again. There's a lot of debate around which ARPG is the better game, and that's understandable. Gamers like to feel a sense of superiority over other games in the same genre. But the reality is, you can only compare Diablo 4 and PoE 2 up to a certain point. They offer very different experiences and cater to very different types of players. I don't see any reason why you can't enjoy both, but if you're still stuck in the mindset that your game is better, let's go over the major differences between the two and see what's changed so.
See, I'm at the mindset where, like I said, I prefer Diablo over other ARPGs. My personal view on it is it's just because I'm used to Diablo. I've played Diablo 2, the expansion. I've played Diablo 3 in the expansion, and now I've been playing Diablo 4 since it released with the Vessel of Hatred expansion, and now with the Lord of Hatred expansion. I understand Diablo.
I'm going to keep this simple and focus on the big points, so use the timestamps below if you want to skip around to what matters most to you. Most ARPG players started with Diablo. Personally, my introduction to the genre was with Diablo 3, and then I got into Diablo 2. So when Diablo 4 was announced, it was extremely exciting. A new Diablo game with modern graphics, new classes,
took 10 years to make.
It felt like something I could play for years, just like Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. But the first few seasons were rough. Content felt like a chore, damage calculations were just straight up wrong, and the game fell off pretty hard. A lot of us stuck around until around the Season of Blood, which was okay, but by then the damage was done and many players had already moved on. Since then, a lot has changed. The current season, Season of Divine Intervention, brings massive and permanent overhauls to core systems like tempering and masterworking. Gear progression is now far more predictable, affixes make sense, and you can refine your gear endlessly if you want to. Seasonal content adds divine gifts for risk versus reward gameplay and sanctification, which lets you massively upgrade your gear. If you play Path of Exile, it's basically Val Corruption, except it's mostly positive. We also get a challenging new world boss, Asmodon, and a new endgame activity called The Tower, launching January 12th of this year with leaderboards. On top of that, we've got companions and the long-awaited Paladin class that you can play right now, along with a...
I don't know if he's going to mention it, but don't forget the Warlock class that's releasing in, as time of recording, 16 days with a brand new region to explore as well.
New secret class that we don't yet know of dropping with new expansion. The biggest barrier to entry for Diablo 4 is the price. The base game is $39.99 and expansions are roughly the same price. This isn't the most budget-friendly ARPG, but if you can afford it, there's a lot of game here. Skills are one of the first systems you interact with. You start with a handful of options, each with branching upgrades, and unlock more as you level. Progression feels...
And again, with Lord of Hatred, when that releases, skill tree is getting a complete overhaul.
Natural, but complexity is fairly limited. That said, Diablo 4 has done a much better job of improving skill viability. Build diversity is way better than at launch. There are still meta builds that nuke everything, but you can now build around almost any skill if you understand the stats. The expansion coming in April of 2026 is also set to release a reworked skill tree with skill modifiers baked directly into the tree instead of just on gear. That alone has the potential to open up some really wild builds. Gear
builds are going to be insane.
Complaint at launch. Drops felt awful, crafting was shallow, and the progression felt slow. That's completely different now. If you've completed the campaign, you gear up insanely fast. By level 15, which can take literal minutes, you'll have a full set of legendaries. On top of that, you now have multiple crafting tools, tempering to add affixes, enchanting to reroll them, masterworking to upgrade them, and sanctification to push them to ridiculous levels.
So I know this is talking about season 11. But we are on season 12 right now. Sanctification has gone away. But releasing with Lord of Hatred, we do have the cube coming in that's going to completely change crafting. We do have a couple other systems that are going to come in that are going to completely change crafting. We also have the, the war plans for a whole brand new type of thing to do for the end game.
I genuinely haven't had a moment where I felt under-geared. The base story campaign was one of the stronger parts of the game at launch. Lilith was great, the world felt dark and grounded, it nailed the Diablo vibe, even though we still don't have Diablo. That said, the story has become one of the weaker parts of the game in the current expansion. The Vessel of Hatred expansion didn't really land for me. I don't think it was trash like some people say, but it didn't pull me in either. Hopefully
it was decent.
Together better in the Lord of Hatred expansion dropping in April. Leveling in Diablo 4 is fast. Like, really fast. You can hit max level in a handful of hours if you're focused. I put up about 30 hours into the game and ended up with a max level Paladin, Spiritborn, Barbarian, and Sorcerer. My Paladin hit near max just by finishing the Vessel of Hatred campaign, and after a few Hell Tides, I was already deep into Paragon. This is one of the biggest reasons people prefer D4 over PoE 2, because leveling takes an hour instead of days. Endgame 1.
Oh yeah, especially with season 12, the one we're in now, the season of Slaughter. How Blizzard took a chance to do something completely different than what they've been doing, which by the way, I give all props to Blizzard for taking a chance on it. You could level to 60 in the Hell Tides in a couple hours.
You have options, and lots of them. You have Hell Tides, Nightmare Dungeons, the Pit, Infernal Hordes, World Bosses, Tormented Bosses, Dark Citadel raids, Cruist Undercity, Tree of Whispers, PvP, there's always something to do. With the update coming in April, we're also getting something called the War Room, which looks like Diablo's version of endgame juicing. I'm very curious to see where this will go. So that's what Diablo 4 is looking like in 2026. A game that finally respects your time, gives you constant progression, and lets you jump right in, feel powerful, and log out feeling like you actually accomplished something. But that design philosophy comes with a trade-off. Because Diablo 4 has leaned hard into accessibility and speed, there's another ARPG that went in the opposite direction, slower, deeper, and far less interested in holding your hand. And that's where Path of Exile 2 comes in. For me.
All right, so I'm going to pause it here real quick. Diablo 4, it's all about helping the casual players, which I think is okay. I think you should have games in a genre where it's leaning more towards the casual players, more towards the mid-tier players. You know, someone like me who I do have a job, I do have a family, but I also do have a little bit more time where I can play instead of sitting on my couch on a Friday night playing for 2 hours. And then you need to have games that are exactly like Path of Exile and Path of Exile 2, where lean into the hardcore players that have hours to play every day, that can understand complex systems. Now, with that being said, I truly do not understand much about PoE 2, so I don't know how much of my opinion I can give on this, except for the basic concepts of it.
Me and a lot of other players, Path of Exile 2 felt like salvation after the mess that was Diablo 4 Season 3. From the start, you could tell GGG was onto something. Yes, it launched with bugs and balance issues, but for an early access game, it's been handled fairly well. Since launch, we've seen changes to leveling, new acts and a prologue, skill and support gem overhauls, atlas and skill tree changes, and new classes like the Huntress and the Druid. If you stop playing after patch 0.1, you're basically coming back to a completely different game. Early access is $29.99, and for the amount of time you can sink into it, that's nothing. I've personally got over 700 hours out of my $30 already, and when PoE 2 launches fully, it'll be completely free with no pay to win, which makes it a great option if you're on a budget. Skills unlock early on, just like Diablo, but that's where the similarities end. Skills slot into gem sockets and can be modified with support gems that change how they behave, not just how much damage they do. You can scale attack speed, convert elements, or completely alter a skill's function. In earlier patches, restrictions like not being able to use duplicate support gems really hurt build creativity. But since patch 0.3, those restrictions are gone, and it's been a huge improvement to build diversity. The skill tree is still massive and intimidating, but it's more.
Holy shit, that's the skill tree, bro? What? Like I said, I don't know much about PoE or PoE 2. Like, that looks fucking ridiculous.
Readable than PoE 1, and respeccing only costs gold now, which still isn't ideal, but it's far better than it was at launch. The complexity here is on another level compared to Diablo 4.
I will admit some of these stacks look dope.
Build and take completely different paths to get there. It can be scary for casual players, but if you like thinking, what if I tried making a witch that uses a mace and it makes it rain down hellfire that freezes enemies? Path of Exile 2 lets you try it. Gear is still one of the most frustrating parts of Path of Exile 2. You might get a solid setup by Act 3, then not see an upgrade until endgame. Crafting tools are limited compared to Path of Exile 1 and nowhere near Diablo 4's systems, so trading ends up filling that gap. Thankfully, GGG put a trading system in the game, and while it's not perfect, it's way better than what we had before. Playing through the campaign of Path of Exile 2 the first time was a great experience, but replaying Acts 1 through 3 twice was rough, especially if you decided you wanted to try another class or build. Thankfully, with Acts 4 and 5 added, along with the new prelude, leveling new characters feels much better, even though you still need to recomplete the entire campaign every single time. Most players don't play Path of Exile for the story, they play it to map, and mapping is still the core of PoE 2's endgame, alongside the new Temple of the Vow. Mapping gives you that choose-your-own-adventure feel, while the Vow Temple lets you create high-risk, high-reward dungeons with insane outcomes. GGG has.
I'm gonna stop that there. I noticed that they had the map overlay, the old school Diablo 2 style map overlay. It's actually pretty cool.
Already said patch 0.5 will bring an endgame rework.
And now they have a mini map.
What that's going to look like. Whether it's enough to keep PoE 2 thriving long term still remains to be seen. So, which one is for you? It really comes down to how you like to play. If you have limited time and just want to jump in, make progress, and feel powerful quickly, Diablo 4 is in a great spot right now. If you enjoy complex systems, slower progression, and deep build experimentation, Path of Exile 2 is hard to beat, but they're practically opposites. But here's the third option that nobody really talks about enough. If you're still stuck between simplicity and complexity, you can try Last Epoch. It's built by hardcore ARPG fans, and it sits right in the middle, deep enough to experiment and clear enough to understand. Its crafting system alone solves problems that Diablo and Path of Exile still struggle with. It might not dominate Twitch, and it might not have the loudest community, but it's still one of the smartest ARPGs available and a perfect palate cleanser between seasons. So here's the final verdict. In 2026, the ARPG genre isn't about choosing a side. It's about choosing what kind of fun you want. Diablo 4 finally respects your time, Path of Exile 2 demands your attention, and Last Epoch quietly does both. And honestly, there's never been a better time to get back into either one. The real mistake isn't picking the wrong ARPG, it's thinking you're only allowed to enjoy one. This has been
For me, Diablo has always kind of been my main ARPG franchise. I haven't really played any other ARPG. I do want to try PoE, the first one, just to see if I like it, that kind of style of ARPG. Just because it's free, I don't really want to put money out. But Last Epoch, that's kind of been on my mind lately too, to give that a try. Let me guys know if you want me to try out some of these games, and I'll stream them to this channel. And you can let me know about it. But again, I appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a comment down below, like the video, subscribe.